guys, hope you're well. Des here. Welcome to DOdaily. Coming on live today. Had a bit of a busy day. Thought it'd be good to speak about one or two things as well, which have been playing on my mind. So I'll come back to that shortly. Just let you know, as ever, just finished my City Slickers Solidarity session. Really enjoyed that. Whilst it was really hot, really tough conditions to get out in. A group of us around Nottingham City Centre really made the most of being able to do that together, being able to enjoy it, and like I always sort of request and ask people to join in is just get together in solidarity to enjoy what we're doing. Get the week up and running as a community, as the Do Running sort of organisation we are, and really give it a real go. If you didn't get out on a Monday, it's a great opportunity to get the week up and running. If you did, it's about taking it on together. I got out last night. I come on yesterday after a run which filled me with confidence again. So feeling great about that. Continuing this little mini streak, I'm back on. So it's great. Like I said, just a little bit warm. So if you did get out, hopefully you enjoyed what you did. If you haven't, might be worthwhile getting out now when it's a little bit cooler. And of course, I'm here to encourage that and sort of promote activity, and well-being. That's something I really enjoy about what I do these days. And I spoke about there's some things that have been on my mind, and I didn't really want to speak about it yesterday. I kind of touched on this on Monday Motivation. One of the reasons I do this session more than anything is to try and encourage and help people who are perhaps a little bit disadvantaged. Whilst there's a group of us who are into our running now, we purposely go to an area which is out of our way, which is out of our comfort zone, an area where people probably find activity a little bit tougher to come by, and the motivation for me doing that comes from a period in my life, which I spoke about a lot through DOdaily. 5 or 6 years ago, I kind of found myself in a place where things weren't quite working out, starting to feel sorry for myself. Things was actually kind of spiraling out of control. And whilst I had a bit of willpower and determination to sort of pick myself up and go again, and I had some support around me, I didn't feel I had enough at the time, but I had some support. This group is all about trying to encourage people who haven't got that kind of support, who are looking for somebody to help. We actually do the session. We meet at 6 o'clock by a homeless kitchen where people are, it explains itself, doesn't it? Where people turn up because that's what they need. The people who run that are kind and generous in giving their time and efforts into sort of raising the funds to feed them. But what's really sort of playing on my mind and what I'm getting to is on Saturday evening, I heard about a guy who actually attended one of these City Slickers Solidarity sessions, just the type of person that we're aiming at, had passed away. The guy was only 28. His name was Anthony. He came about 18 months to 2 years ago, and he really enjoyed the run. He'd been a sort of user of this kitchen, and he'd seen what we're doing. And whilst I'm always sort of encouraging this team effort and this uplifting environment and this support, and we always help the person who needs it most on a Tuesday, Anthony was the perfect fit. He was bouncing about, he was enthusiastic, he said he was definitely going to come again. And that would have really sort of pleased me. That's what I really wanted more than anything. Whilst there's lots of great people involved in supporting me and getting something from themselves, of course I put sort of ideas and coaching across to them. It's people like that who I feel in an area like that where I feel we could really make the difference. And I heard that, unfortunately, like I said, at 28, that he lost his life. Basically, he was living outdoors. He was homeless again. And he was found in Nottingham City Centre, and it was a real shocker. Whilst I didn't know the guy too well, I always put this message across: once a member do running, always a member. I don't ask anybody to make too much commitment. People come and go as they please. But I really liked him to come back. The next time I actually seen him, it was by where I live, actually, a couple of miles from where we run, just barefoot, riding a bike barefoot, and it all seemed a bit obscure. But the guy, what I took from him coming that week was he was really trying. He'd been really honest and humble. He told us about his upbringing. He told us about his recent past, which wasn't great. Just got out of prison. He got himself a flat at that point, but he was still relying on things. And what really sort of upsets me about it is he got lost in the system, you know. And the reason I mentioned what happened to me, I felt I was getting lost in the system. If anyone's ever seen the film I Am Daniel Blake, you know, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's when there's lots of issues out there that get addressed, you know, and particularly around homelessness and there's lots of issues that get addressed, but particularly around homelessness and things like that. Sometimes it doesn't, and particularly when it involves males. I'm not trying to sort of differentiate between females and males. There's issues that cross over. I think everything crosses over. That's the point I'm getting to ultimately. But you know, we need to look at this thing where men and mental health and sort of homelessness kind of get put on the shelf a little bit to cater for others, particularly of a certain age. I needed somewhere to live, and I didn't necessarily have no money whatsoever, but just because I didn't have anywhere at that point, I was struggling, you know, and I was just kind of getting put off. I was told to sort of sleep rough, you know, because I am a man of a certain age by a local authority, and that was absolutely shocking. I couldn't believe it at the time, you know, and like I said, I was lucky enough. It was just a case of talking to one or two people, you know, and that was just my circumstances. I wasn't in a bad place as Anthony. He had a bad upbringing, you know, and sometimes all those people need is a bit of an arm around them. That's what try to do with the City Slickers, is invite people in, put an arm around them, make them realise that it's not all about the winning, that it can do so much. You know, the activity, the positivity that's gained from it, the achievement, the adrenaline, you know, you can take that forward. That's what a lot of people do take forward. When I was in a bad place, I found somehow to sort of put my trainers on, get out there and give it a real go. And day by day, it got slightly easier. I ran slightly further, I got slightly more from it, and it led me to all the things I do today. So whilst it's taken me in many directions, I think this Tuesday session is really, really important. I had a few words with the guys before we started, explained to some of them who perhaps don't know about Anthony, why we do it and what it's all about, you know, and that's why I want people to come together in solidarity. It doesn't necessarily mean turning up in person, you know, but if you're doing something together, if you're doing something and you know other people involved, it's so important. If Anthony just stuck at that for 2, 3, 4 weeks, you know, if I'd had the support I'm always looking for, you know, from sort of local businesses, local organisations, you know, if I had that kind of support, I know I could have made a difference. But I look back now and think, what shame, what an absolute waste. If we could have got him, you know, to a point where he was a lot more comfortable than he was even. I'm not even saying particularly comfortable, but he was obviously trying, and that's the striking factor in all this. The guy was trying. I've spoken about Al Jamie a lot through DOdaily and why I've sort of got a big focus on mental health, and that's kind of where it all hit home to me, you know, and the fact I felt he was trying, you know, through the Do Running Trent Bridge group, through what I do on a Wednesday, you know, the guy was posting pictures in, he was encouraging other people to get involved. I'm always doing that, trying to continue that legacy for Jamie. Jamie was a different person completely at the opposite end of the scale, you know, but again, he had his own issues. But with both of them, you could see the real effort they made to make things better for themselves, but they didn't have the right support around them at the time. The one, again, something that's really striking about them both is they're both men of a certain age, you know, between that sort of late 20s, early 30s, you know, and we spoke a lot in the last couple of weeks about the issues around racism, around prejudice, around men attacking women, you know, and I've made some social media posts myself, but sort of touching on the fact that unless we start looking at all these problems as a collective problem, you know, as people together, we're not going to get to the bottom of it, are we? You know, we need to start including people, not separating and segregating people. Anthony had a sort of dark past and issues. People are taught to turn a blind eye to it. You know, when I've mentioned a lot when people are privileged, other people hang on to it, other people think it's the best thing to sort of get involved in it and do whatever these privileged people say. Look at the support for the England guys. Whilst it's absolutely shocking that they was racially abused, they've got 99% of the population on board, and they get a lot of publicity, and rightly so, because they don't deserve that sort of criticism, no matter how much money somebody's got, no matter how well where they've come from to where they've got. But there's also people out there that don't get a chance for whatever reason. So we need to really look at this, really come together and realise that together we can make a real difference. And that's what the solidarity session is all about. Don't want to sort of make it too depressing. A guy's lost his life and it's really upsetting, but from it we can learn real lessons and take things forward, and realise that if we sort of start including everybody, no matter how they fit into society, or at least inviting them. That's a point I've made in my social media, that we can make a real difference. If we keep sort of putting homeless people over there, putting black people over there, putting gay people over there, and not talking about it, women, men, all these different sort of demographics, we're not going to solve anything. So kind of urging people who are looking in to just keep that communication going, keep sort of accepting and understanding what's going on around us, and keep doing things where whatever sort of people, wherever people come from, whatever background they got, whatever money they got, whatever job, all these materialistic things, that we can still do it together. Like I say, a lot of those guys who travelled to Nottingham City Centre, just outside Nottingham City Centre, to run as this City Slickers session, don't have to. They could do other things elsewhere. But we want to make a difference. We want to keep supporting that kind of community. And it's a real passion of mine. I feel, for my personal issues, I've got a bit of experience. Whilst I've not had it as bad as Anthony, I never got to the depths of where Jamie got in terms of his mental health before he took his own life. I feel it, and that's where my real passion comes from, to keep pushing this. So if you can get involved, guys, at any point, I'd really sort of appreciate it. If you want to understand more, please ask me questions. I'm always sort of honest and relatable. This is what all this is about. You'll get what's on my mind. You'll get what I'm thinking, whilst I do try to portray a positive outlook and encourage people to adopt that. It's important for me to sort of say it as it is, say it as I feel it, and because we all experience ups and downs, don't we? And this has been really sort of niggling away at me for the last few days. It's nothing what's going to sort of get to me too much for as bad as it is. I didn't know this guy, I can't change the world on my own, but at the end of the day, it is a really sad situation, and I just feel if I had a little bit more support. I'm not feeling sorry for myself, don't get me wrong. If we had that little bit more support and people really wanted to sort of come together to make a real difference, we could have made a difference in this case, and we could have saved somebody alive. Not only did he sort of not have a great life, he died, and he's not going to have a particularly great send-off probably because he had no one around him. And that's really sad, isn't it? We need to sort of look at these issues, tackle them, do whatever we can. I know the power of activity brought me out of the slump, running, walking these days, all the things I do in terms of socials with all these people who are involved in, all these like-minded people, it makes such a difference. So don't lose faith, keep going, it's all about sort of getting out there, coming together, we'll keep meeting on a Tuesday at 6 o'clock, the solidarity session, whether it's in person or not. Keep posting pictures, keep encouraging, keep that legacy of Al Jamie. Like I say, that's where all that comes from. He was the one who sort of set the ball rolling, and with that, and really took things on board. He was only about for 6 weeks, but it was enough to leave a lasting impression on me. Sometimes people sort of scoff at all of this and think, well, he'll get a bit bored of that. Absolutely not. I'll never get bored of trying to look after people, look out for people who've not got things quite right. I've had to suffer, I've never been privileged, but I've got no sort of issues with that anymore. I don't want it in many ways, because I've seen what it does to people. be humble, show some humility, you know, and keep doing the things you do, and everything will be absolutely fantastic. Of course, tomorrow we're looking at Wednesday workout and taking the activity on that step further. I'll be with that other group, you know, again, encouraging all the similar sorts of things, whilst we don't all run together, whilst we don't come together in the same sense. You know, I'll be discussing the importance of Wednesday workout, perhaps offering some tips and things in like that, you know, and taking the week on. Thursday, of course, it's Thursday Thoughts. If you've got any questions, especially on what I've said today, you know, I'm really open and honest about all this. I spoke about it a lot. Please post them in to des@dorunning.org.uk. I'm absolutely open to anything, you know, and I'll answer it as honest as I can, you know. And of course, I asked a question last week just to lighten everything up slightly, and with Wednesday workout in mind. The throwback question was, what is your must-do thing before every race? You know, if you can answer that in any of the comments, if you've got anything to sort of add to what I've said today, you know, check out my personal social media. You know, I'm only there to try and help and encourage and pass on my thoughts. While some might think, who's he to judge? You know, who are they to judge me? You know, that says more about them than it does me. So check out all those links there. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully at 8 o'clock. Wednesday's always a really, really busy day. But amongst all that sort of sadness, other than that, we're feeling really confident about my winning, really happy about the way things are going again. Things are just starting to happen, and it's taken a lot of hard work, dedication and commitment. You know, not always had that support, because perhaps some people feel they're privileged, but that's up to them, isn't it? You know, I'll keep banging the drum. I'll keep doing what I've got to do and keep sort of fighting for those who need it. So until tomorrow, guys, have a great evening. Enjoy the sunshine. Hopefully it's going to get a bit cooler. It's really, really tough out there. Just doing it.